What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Surf. Just a quick update, still currently waiting for a title, registration, and all that stuff. So today, what we're going to be doing is installing some Jaos Mudflaps. As you can see, I already installed one, but what I'm going to do is kind of run you through the installation process for one side of the front and rear, just so you guys kind of know. One thing that is deviating a bit for me on the front, they include instructions on how to trim the inside a bit, but to be honest, I kind of like the extra coverage on the inside, so I'm not going to trim them, at least on the front. Maybe the back I'll have to, I don't know. But for now, yeah, that's what we're looking like. This side is currently already installed, so I will show you the process. Okay, so here we have the pattern that's included. I got the kit that it was meant for the Surf, so it's pretty nice. So this is the pattern. I personally can't read Japanese, but kind of figured this out. Google Translate, stuff like that. So what you're going to want to do on the front, depending on which side you're doing, you're going to want to tape this up. So if you're doing the front driver's side, you would want this left side of the pattern to be taped right there, so you have a little bit extra on that side. And you're going to want to tape it, and then you're going to want to just use a center punch on the X's and mark them through the paper. Then you're going to want to pull this off, drill the holes where the center punches are. And you're originally supposed to connect these. I wanted to see if it would work without connecting these, and it does, so I'm probably not going to connect them, to be honest. And then you don't want to cut this before you mark the holes. That was my mistake. I can find a clean one in the other kit before we get started. But then what you're going to want to do if you're doing the opposite side, being the passenger side, you want it flipped over, and you're going to want to do the same thing. Line it up on the left edge there. Then hole, 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 hole. Drill them out. And I'll kind of show you that a little bit more momentarily. So I was going to get a clean one of these out of the box, but there's not a clean one. There's only one stencil per kit, so what I would recommend doing is marking the holes for both sides before cutting and trimming this, so you know where to trim if you would like to trim. Like I said, on the front, I'm not going to. This is the front template. So what you want to do really is just kind of think about how this is going to mount, right? So obviously you want this logo to be in the back. So if a majority of your holes are on this side, this is likely going to be the side that sticks out, if that makes sense. So the way this is oriented right now, if we drew the holes right here, that's where it would be on the driver's side. So on the passenger side, you want to have it on the back side like this, line it up on the same side, and a majority of the holes are going to be on this left side. So stay with me. That'll be the right side right here. This is where all the mounting will take place. So this would be the edge that sticks out. So that's how you would kind of get both sides from it. Okay, so we have our holes marked out, as you can see. So now we're going to drill those to the correct size. Okay, so we got all our holes drilled. So now we're going to go over to the car and start mounting these up. The instructions mention, to remove the material between all these holes to make them an oval shape. When I mounted the first ones up, or the first front side up, I was just curious if I could leave that material. I like the idea of having more material there, and they seem to fit without an issue doing that. So I'm probably going to do the same for this, like I said as well. On the front side, on the opposite side, I did not trim these to the size based on the guide here. It didn't seem to interfere with anything at all, and I like the idea of having more material there, blocking as much as I can, keeping it away from the car. So I'm going to do the same with this one. So I'll see you guys soon. So now we're going to go over to the instructions. This is for the front, this is for the back. So for the front side, what you're going to need is one of these. You're going to need 3 M6 by 20 volts, and then 2 M6 by 20 screws. And I can show you, I'll lay everything out so you can see what it looks like. It's a little hard to visualize in this graphic, but that's probably because I can't read Japanese. Okay, so you're gonna take this bracket with one of the M6 by 20 millimeter bolts, a washer, and a nut, and it's gonna go on the back side like this. You're gonna take 2 more, and that is going to line up these 2 holes with these 2 spots right here. Then you are going to take a plate, because it comes with all these plates, and that's going to line up roughly those 2 holes with these 2 larger screws, which kind of mount into the factory holes. So I'll get some stuff mocked up and you'll get a better idea. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is remove these 2 factory screws right here. It does help if you turn the wheel. We'll get to that, and I'll kind of show you. Okay, so underneath the car, right behind this rear tire, there's these 2 holes up here. You're gonna wanna utilize the circular hole, and I will show you how that's done. Okay, so you're gonna wanna have the bracket mounted like this. Obviously, it needs to be tightened down, but you get the idea. With this hole facing this small hole instead of the oval slit facing the tire, and then the nut and the washer on this back side. So I'll get that tightened down and we will move on. So your bracket is going to look something like this. That's a bad angle. It'll look something like that. Right? So next, you're going to take the other sets of screw nut washer combo, and you're going to line up these holes right here, and I can show you what that looks like. All right, so what I did was put the 2 inside bolts in, and then these ones are just kind of loose right here right now, just to make sure everything lines up. You can see, maybe you can see the 2 bolts that go through this little bracket that we installed there. And then, yeah, that's kind of it for the most part. You really just have to make sure everything lines up, modify as needed, and then tighten everything down nice and good. So now what we're gonna do is turn the wheel just so we can access those rear bolts, get those tightened down, and then we'll put the plate on and get these ones tightened down, and then that's pretty much it for the most part, and then besides the strap. But I'll show you what we can do for that. So we got the inner bolts tightened down, so now we just need to put this plate on, these last 2, and then we will move on to the strap. There we go, we got the plate on, everything's all tightened down. Now we just need to worry about the strap, and I will show you what to do with that. So for the strap, you're going to need one of these, at least for the front, one of these, and you're also going to need the very small screw, nut, and a washer. So back underneath the car, there's a little hole right here. So what you're going to want to do is put the screw down on this side, like down from the top, and you're going to want to take your little clip here, and you're going to want to have this bigger part facing towards the back, so that way it sits flush off this rail here. If you do it towards the front, this little corner will ride right on this edge. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So just as an example, what you're gonna wanna do with the strap, you're gonna wanna run it through the little clip just like this, then run it through this up here. You're gonna wanna pull this and push it back up through this guy. So up, through, and then down on the inside. and then you can adjust the stiffness of the mud flap. Something just like that, and then you can just play with the buckle position and get the desired tightness of the mud flap that you would like. That's roughly what I'm going for. And as you can see, can't go forward, can spring back. So now we are onto the back mud flaps. This is the back pattern. I already did the driver's side. So the right, yeah, well, I already did the driver's side, right? So what I did, had the mud flap on this side. I took it and I aligned the pattern with the top left corner, mainly because this will obviously be the inside, this will be the outside. If I mounted it, or if I had this pattern closer to this side, there would be more material inside. If I have it on this side, there's going to be more material outside. I wanted the most amount of material outside because, again, I'm not cutting these. I'm not trimming them. The first one was, you know, on the muffler side. There's a little bit of clearance between the muffler and the mud flap, not a lot. That might clearance itself, to be honest. So yeah, on this side it was aligned with this left-hand side. So what we're gonna do is flip this over, get rid of some of that stuff. Then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna align it right to this left hand. Well, we're gonna align it to this left side. So that way, this will be our outside, which makes sense. And yeah, get started. So, got the holes drilled, like it says to do in the instructions. The difference between the front and the back that I found when I put the other backside on is this actual hole channel here makes it a lot easier. So pretty much what I do is just kind of use the same size drill bit and just drill the center of all these out. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so we got our holes drilled. So here's what the instructions say, but realistically, what you're gonna need 5 of the M6 by 25 bolts. They're kind of the longer ones that they provide. You're going to need 3 nuts and 6 washers, then these 2 brackets, then also this big bracket. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do on your orientation that you're mounting, you're going to want to have this on here, this with a hole lined up to that hole, that hole, that hole, these over top of the small hole. And you're gonna wanna put a bolt through this with a washer and a nut on the other side. So this will be what it looks like. These holes are aligned, that's down tight, that hole's above. This is for the passenger side. So next you're going to want to mount a top bracket, but first, if you have this bottom black mud flap part right here, you're actually gonna wanna cut that off. So I'm gonna cut mine with this pair of, I think they're carpenter's scissors, but they work really well, they're very sharp. So I'm gonna cut that now. Okay, there we go, nice, simple, clean cut. So now what we're gonna wanna do is remove these 2 bolts here. Okay, so we got the top bracket in. What I did on the other side was I slid this all the way down to give the most amount of reach, and I tucked it as close as I could to this inner fender. That's personally what I did. You definitely don't have to do what I do. It's like these bolts have a lot of adjustment. As you can see, you know, you can mount it up higher or lower, whatever you want. I want these kind of as low as possible to get as much stuff off the tire as I can, and also protect the inside as well as it can. So that's personally what I'm doing. Sometimes it helps to keep things a little bit loose and then play around with fitments and see what you want and kind of go from there. So the next bolt that we're gonna do is this guy right here, which runs through the plate, runs through the upper bracket, then runs through the mud flap itself, then it has a washer and a nut on the opposite side. It's a little tough to get to, but it's not impossible. It just takes a little bit of time. So going back, One thing that I realized is that this upper bracket is actually supposed to be on top of the mud flap. I did it behind on the other side, so I'm doing it behind on this one to match. It's pretty stiff and it'll be fine, but just to let you know, that's the correct way to do it, and I am technically doing it the incorrect way. But after I got that one in, what I like to do is keep it a little bit loose while we get the other two bolts in. So the other ones are not too crazy. There's one on this that goes through these two. There's one that goes through two centers, and then is the other one to hold it to the frame here, or not the frame, but one of the stock mounting hole locations. So I'll get another one in and kind of show you what that's gonna look like. Okay, so we got the other two bolts in. We kind of just have to tighten everything down. So this one mounts a little crooked, honestly, compared to some of the others, but it's gonna do the job, so it'll be good. So I'll get everything tightened down and show you what it looks like. I would highly recommend, when you're tightening the rest of your bolts down, tighten these two first before you tighten this one. So if you tighten that one, it's gonna be almost impossible to access behind this mud flap where the nuts are. So there we go, it's all nice, firm. So now we just need to put the hook in and do the strap, and that's it. Cool. So for the hanging locations, there's a little hole right here. I used a bolt and I had a leftover nut as well. If I had a washer, I would have put it on that side too, but yeah, that works. So does what it's supposed to do. The other side set up the same way, and that is pretty much it.